I received an email from Larry, and he was listening to me on another public podcast talk about the benefits of low intensity training, and he asked if I would elaborate in a little bit more detail as to why I'm such a big advocate for it. When you bring your heart rate up incrementally, if you think about a motor, as you increase the amount of you stepping on the accelerator and you're increasing the rate of speed, most people understand that there's going to be more exhaust coming out the back of the vehicle. And that's exactly what happens to you as a human being. As you bring your heart rate incrementally higher and higher and higher, there is more metabolic byproduct. I don't want you to get intimidated by the big terminology, but I do want you to understand enough about the science so that you'll start to really lean in on the multiple benefits of low intensity training. When you bring the heart rate up higher and higher, what you create is oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress has been known to be a catalyst for dark circles under your eyes, deep wrinkles on your face, brittle skin, brittle hair, not healing up from cuts quickly. That's the negative byproduct, and we even go so far as to say that oxidative stress will make you look older than you really are. So high intensity training long term actually makes you look older than you really are. Besides just the aesthetic side of things, when you look at it from a health standpoint, just like on your automobile, if you're always driving the car super fast and hard, you're not surprised that the vehicle itself has problems. It wears down very quickly. So think about this from a physical standpoint. As you take your heart rate up higher and higher, you're putting more and more stress on the body. This is why I'm such a big fan of making sure that you know what your calorie burn rate is. You can find this on the Garmin dashboard. You can find that on both the app and the computer. So that way you don't have a big gap of calorie burn rate versus calorie intake. That's going to reduce the stress on the system. When you look and move beyond just the oxidative stress and the negative byproducts of that, let's look at something over and above just that component, even though it's very detrimental. How tired are you if every time you go to the gym or every time you do a cardio workout, it's just literally hardcore wide open? Once again, your body just can't stand the constant high intensity training every day. If you're young, you're probably going to be able to do it for a longer period of time than somebody that's a little bit older. But unfortunately, you're fast tracking yourself to getting tired, worn down. It's where we get the words adrenal fatigue. Your body perceives high intensity training. If it's done too often and for too long, it literally goes into the category of stress. So now you've got adrenal fatigue. Your adrenals fight and offset the fight or flight component associated with stress. Now you see how exercise goes from being healthy. If it's done too long or too often, it can become counterproductive. So now stop and think about the other extreme, low intensity training. You minimize oxidative stress. You minimize the overall stress on the system. And here's something that a lot of people don't realize. The number one physical limiter when it comes to top end speed, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, is not only your anaerobic threshold, your tolerance for blood lactate. It's the ability to deliver enough oxygen to the working muscles. So your aerobic capacity is as important as your lactate tolerance. But most people think the only way to go fast is to go fast. It's only part of the equation. I want to come back to the original question, why do I advocate it? Well, I don't care how old you are when you're watching this video, you've got to think about residual fatigue on a weekly training block. With my clients, it's usually 6 to 8 weeks. You got to think about quarterly. You've got to think about it annually, year over year. You got to think about the long game. Now, that doesn't mean that all of your workouts should be low intensity training. That's not what I'm insinuating whatsoever. I just want to answer the question, why am I a big advocate for it? Because I know that the number one physical limiter for the majority of people out there is the lack of aerobic capacity. That's number one. I don't like seeing people report themselves to our Complete Med Solutions, which is our blood evaluation company, and we find that the Epstein Barr virus is in their blood. That's because of excessive stress and fatigue. If you've got a lot going on personally and professionally in the financial realm of your world, is it really productive for you to be smashing yourself with high intensity training every day? The answer is no. And there's no other answer to it. That's where we have to start looking at the bigger picture of balance. So great question that came in relevant to why am I such a big advocate for low intensity training? as we've just talked about here, there's a multitude of benefits and no negative side effects. If you build that aerobic engine when it's time to do speed work, you're going to be faster. And that's what we're all looking for, right? We want better endurance, we want better top end speed, we want lower body fat, increased muscle mass. The only way you can do that is by building a foundation of health and wellness, and low intensity cardio actually makes people start to enjoy fitness, maybe for the first time, maybe bringing fitness back for the things that you missed about it. So I want to say thank you for sending the question in. If you happen to have a question like Larry did, please feel free to reach out to me and my team. You can reach us at contact@coachrob.com. We're going to be answering a question a day. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.